Hello, I'm Peter Vaughan, and today I'm at Rowntree Park in York with this, the latest Carthago liner for 2 I53, but not just any liner for 2, because this is the Iveco Daily version. You can have a more affordable version, or slightly more affordable version, on a Fiat Ducato with front-wheel drive, but this Iveco Daily brings a heavier chassis, rear-wheel drive with twin rear wheels to what has been a very successful layout, a layout that will appeal to you very much if you think that all luxury motorhomes have either an island bed at the back or twin singles, and frankly, that isn't what you want. So here we have a motorhome that starts, and emphasis on the starts because there are lots of options on this vehicle, as perhaps you might expect with a luxury German brand, but it starts at £172,340. And for that, you get a vehicle that's 7.85 metres long, 3.13 metres high, that excludes the roof air conditioning, which is an option on this particular vehicle, and 2.27 metres wide. I think you have to add about 130 millimetres if you add the roof air conditioning. And then in terms of gross weight, well, the Iveco chassis starts at 5.6 tonnes. This particular one has the optional upgrade to 5.8 tonnes. Now Carthago calls this 2023 version of the liner for 2 its new generation, but the most obvious external change is these new gold and anthracite graphics. The most obvious external optional extra is this silver line paint finish. As standard, it comes in white, so if you want the silver line, that's £3,725. Body construction is the same, whatever colour of course, and it's got GRP roof, GRP underside, RTM foam, hard foam insulation throughout, and this very neat liner style join of the roof and the sidewalls in a neat curve, so you haven't got that normal angular box of a coach built motorhome. Very much this is, of course, a liner. So time to have a look around the exterior. And of course, in typical Continental A-Class fashion, you have a cab door on the near side, or on the passenger side. It is linked to the central locking, and when you open the door, out comes the step, although that is a £505 option, and one I think you need to tick. Of course, also being a top-end A-Class, it has an expansive heated storage double floor. Just inside this hatch, and you've got a similar hatch over on the other side, just inside the hatch, height is about 500 millimetres, and it's a minimum of about 290 millimetres stretching right across inside the vehicle. And that's despite this being a rear-wheel drive motorhome, of course, with a prop shaft running underneath the vehicle. Here, toilet access, of course, and then room for 2 11-kilo cylinders. Then, of course, there's a substantial rear garage, but I'll show you that from the other side. Down below, you've got rear corner steadies. Look at the diddy little wheels to stop the back end grounding out. I rather like that. You've got this fully moulded rear panel, but a separate bumper section, so that if you do have a little knock, you don't have to replace the whole thing. That rear window does just give a clue as to what we're going to see inside, but we'll come back to that. And the tow bar, well, that's over £2,000 worth of option, but you can tow with this Iveco, you can tow up to 3.5 tonnes. Now, I believe that reduces slightly if you go for this 5.8 tonne chassis upgrade, but to be able to tow 3.5 tonnes, well, that gives you a strong argument for going for the Iveco. So the garage, and oh, this intruding bit of furniture behind me perhaps gives you another clue to the internal layout. In the garage you've got this optional checker plate flooring, very practical, and another practical touch is these elasticated straps on the back wall, ideal to hold your outdoor table and chairs in place. Even your awning winding handle clipped into position. Headroom where I'm sitting is 1.05 metres, and of course the garage stretches the full width of the van with 2 full-size loading doors. But the key to this garage is here, because this section lifts up to give you more space. You've got a little recess here for your bicycle wheels, and then with that raised you can get the handlebars in this part of the garage, so you can get a couple of bikes or a couple of e-bikes on board, as well as all your outdoor furniture and so on. Lighting at either side of the garage, 12 volt and 230 volt sockets, and then underneath you've got access to your RCD and your habitation fuses. And of course, if your dog is wet, your boots are, hot and cold shower as well. So that's the garage that has a load limit of 450 kilos. And then just a word on payload. On the standard 5.6 tonne chassis with no options, you have 1,385 kilos of payload. This one, as I said, has been upgraded to 5.8 tonnes, but it also has a shed load of options on it. So payload is 965 kilos, still plenty to make good use of that garage and the double floor storage. And again, on this side you've got access right the way through in that double floor. External gas barbecue point here too. Of course you've got the alloy wheels, and then the 5.5 metre awning, which is an electric one, combined with the roof air conditioning. That is called the summer air conditioning package, I believe, and that's £4,045. And the final thing to show you, perhaps on the outside, well, is how do you get in? And this step certainly isn't the quickest, but it is quite impressive. Just remember that when you go to drive off, there's a piercing buzzer, but the switch to raise the step is on the passenger side. Not much good for me, but then this is the liner for 2, not the liner for 1. So it's nice to get out of the howling gale outside into this lovely warm motorhome, heated of course by the Audi central heating, which I have to say does an amazing job. You come into the kitchen area, but before we talk about that, over the door you've got, behind a frosted panel so that the lights don't disturb you, you've got your Audi heating control, your Dometic inverter, which is an option of course, and also your general control panel. But above that, much more noticeably, you've got a sort of set of ship's clocks. Rather stylish, although a little bit deathlefts if you know your motorhomes. What else? Well, of course, the Carthago trademark is that double floor, and as you come in, you have this huge opening panel. I think I'll lose my shoes in there. Well, you could lose probably the whole of me in here, but if I get rid of my shoes. And also in this area, you'll find your dump valves for your fresh and wastewater, and of course the boiler as well. Fresh water and the grey water are both in the double floor, and capacities are generous. 210 litres for fresh and 155 litres waste. So the kitchen. And if you're a fan of British fans, no, there's no microwave, and there isn't one of those big slot-in cookers with mains hot plate and all the bits and bobs, but you have got a lot of positives, especially if you're more used to continental style motorhomes. The hob is this nice Master Gourmet unit with these cast iron trivet. The sink, well, that comes with one of these pull-out hose style taps and chopping board cover that slides out of the way. You've got very generous drawer space. The cutlery and utensil drawer is particularly impressive, and not only have you got 4 drawers, but they soft close. You have a combined oven and grill, the usual Thetford duplex unit, which is perfectly good enough. That is an option, but for once it's mounted in the right place, not up above a fridge freezer, just where you'd want it. Plenty of storage in the top lockers too, and with these nice solid sprung hinges. Extractor fan in the roof above me, as well as of course the Truma air conditioning unit. And then over on the other side, more drawers under the fridge freezer, and it's one of these newfangled ones with the doors that open from either side. 153 litre capacity, automatic energy selection of course. And another thing I like, nothing to do with cooking of course, but you have got these coat hooks, plenty of room for coats to hang conveniently by the door, and lots of floor space in this kitchen. When you're working, you're not going to be crowded by people coming and going. But the neatest touch of all perhaps is this slide out unit here. Just pulls out, door slides back, and you've got more storage and a couple of waste bins. More kitchen features include these Corian worktops with a drip catching lip, so I think they've heard about my cooking. And then you've got this rather fancy sweeping serving shelf. Up above, for £1,680 extra, you have this Crooks Dolce Gusto coffee machine. But before you tap your angry comments below, that £1,680 does include your 1800 watt inverter, so you can have coffee, not just when you're hooked up to the mains. However, for that much, I would want this door to line up properly. What else? Well, you've got central locking for the kitchen drawers so they don't fly out when you're driving. If the light's on, they're unlocked. And then over here, yet more slide out storage. But everything I've said so far, frankly, is irrelevant, because this is why you buy a liner for 2. This is possibly the best motorhome lounge on the market today. Yes, there are some options again. £3,695 for this sand performance leather, but it is rather nice. You pay extra for these headrests too, and if you want to carry passengers, you can have a couple of headrests that slot in here, and you have seat belts that pop rather neatly out of these corner recesses. But frankly, over £1,000 extra, I wouldn't bother. This is a liner for 2, and would anybody seriously want to travel right back here, so far away from those in the cab and out beyond the rear axle, where the ride quality is probably going to be a bit bouncy? But you can have the option if you absolutely need it. What you can't have an option of, unfortunately, is a removable or fold in half table. Yes, you can put your foot on the button on the floor and slide the table about, but it's still quite a big table. If there's anything wrong with this lovely, lovely lounge, this is it. For 2024 Carthago, please can we have a folding table? Other than that, well, what else can I tell you? You've got rear speakers, you've got twin sunroofs here although the second one is, again, an option, £1,100 for that second one, although they are both the wind-up type of Hecky, and what a lovely thing to have. Not only have you got these triple windows, if you don't want the privacy, you can wind up the Roman blinds and have the full view, but you've got beautiful blue sky today looking at you through those windows in the roof. Fabulous. But this lounge hasn't finished with its party pieces. Yes, you have a separate radio Pioneer unit mounted in the furniture here, rather than having to make your way into the cab. And then, of course, the telly. Well, you wouldn't expect anything less than a 40-inch LED screen in a van like this, would you? But it will cost you £2,670, including the electric motor to make it arrive James Bond style from behind the sofa. And then, well, you want to sit in comfort, don't you? And if your partner has already bagged the prime position over by the back wall there, their feet up, thinking they've got pole position, well, you can out Max Verstappen them with a little press of this button. And suddenly, what looked like the second place is actually the winning one. So, I dare say you're thinking, it's all very well, you've got the best lounge in the world, but what about the bedroom? That's why people buy island bed and fixed single bed layouts, because you have the perfect bedroom. Well, I think you do here as well. Simply tip the front seats forward, close the blinds. Now, I looked everywhere for a switch for the windscreen blind, because I thought, spending this much money, it would be electric. But no. At least it's quicker than most electric ones. And what is electric is converting this whole area into a bedroom. Couldn't be much easier than that, could it? And if you're worrying about access, well, just pull out these steps. There are even doors. And then, well, you couldn't have a much better bedroom than this. 1.86 metres long on the off side, 1.96 metres on the near side. That's 6'1.5" and 6'5" respectively. And in the middle here, well, right down to where my knees are currently, it's 2.01 metres across, 6'7" across. So you're certainly not short of comfort, not short of headroom. You've got reading lights above, you've got a Hecky roof light. This larger one is an upgrade. What a surprise. Got little windows at the foot of the bed, you've got USB sockets, you even got a TV that is height adjustable so you can watch it in the bedroom. And these mattresses, well, they're nice quality mattresses on Carrawinks springs. So pretty much the ideal bedroom, as long as you don't mind this sort of single bed type format, although it's almost a giant double with just this sort of cut out at the foot. So now the cab has all but disappeared. You wouldn't think that this was the front of a motorhome, would you? Certainly less so the front of an Iveco Daily. And not only have you got a bedroom, but you can close the bedroom off so that your ensuite is private too. And this isn't just a washroom or a bathroom, it's a changing room too, because over here you've got a double wardrobe, 2 levels, his and hers perhaps. Then you've got your shower, over here your toilet room, or you can open this door across and then you've got a full width bathroom. The shower is a good size, although this door is plastic. Some really top-end motorhomes have a real glass shower door, but really the practicalities just work. You've got loads of headroom, good drainage in the shower tray with 2 outlets, little corner shelf for your shampoo and etc., hooks for your towels to dry, and you've got a handheld or riser bar shower as well as a rain shower above. The toilet room is a good size too. Plenty of leg room, decent amount of shoulder room, big wash basin that you can really get your face over for a good splash. Plenty of mirrors around 2 sides with a bit of blingy illumination, and behind those mirrors, good storage with fiddle rails to keep things in place. Towel and robe hooks, roof vent above. In fact, you've got 3 roof vents. One here, one in the middle, and one over the shower. Well, I suppose you can't have too much ventilation, can you? And then the loo, well, it might be the familiar Thetford, but it's got a ceramic bowl here and SOG ventilation. What else do you get? Well, the heated towel rail is an option, as is this full-length mirror on the inside of the toilet door. You'd think by now I've covered everything but driving, but no, because we have another option on this vehicle. It's called the Office and TV Room package, and it'll cost you £2,430. What that gives you is 2 swivel cab seats because, well, really, normally you wouldn't use the cab apart from for driving and converting it at night to a bedroom. But you get the 2 swivel cab seats, you get the second TV, which of course is very viewable from here as well as in bed, and then you get this workstation. You've got USB and main sockets adjacent, and now practical place for me to work. Do you think I could put a Carthago liner for 2 through on expenses? So I think it's time to go for a drive, but before I do, I should just mention the spec of this particular vehicle, because as standard you get a 156 horsepower engine and 6-speed manual gearbox. This one has the 207 horsepower engine, 3 litre diesel with the 8-speed ZF automatic gearbox. That combination will cost you £9,990 extra. And we also have the driver assistance package, which brings to the party emergency braking assist with city brake, automatic cruise control with traffic jam function, automatic main beam activation, active lane departure assistant with warning alarm, tyre inflation pressure monitoring system, rain sensor with automatic dipped beam, and finally the side wind assistance including ESP. Total for that, £7,385. So let's see what all that feels like when you get out on the road. So now we're out on the Yorkshire moors on an extremely blustery day, but I thought it was worth giving this liner for 2 a proper test drive, because it's not every day I get behind the wheel of an Iveco. See plenty of Mercs these days, more and more Fords, and of course the ubiquitous Fiat Ducatos, but an Iveco is a little bit out of the ordinary. And I have to say, I'm hugely impressed. Now, when I picked it up, the UK agent for Carthago reminded me that when I borrowed his S Plus, also based on an Iveco, in I think 2016, I was very critical of the front suspension. Well, this latest liner for 2, there's no issues at all. And it does have uprated front suspension, it does have pneumatic suspension at the back, so all the base vehicle comfort pack options, but yeah, it is a joy to drive. You can quite understand why some of the really, really premium motorhomes from the likes of Morello and Concord use Iveco Daily chassis. Coming down the A64 this morning, got some steep inclines. Well, this is pretty steep here. No issues at all with performance. I mean, you've got 470 Newton meters of torque. That beats the equivalent Fiats and Mercs, so you're not short of performance. What I was perhaps more concerned about was the way it would drive, but yeah, it drives really well. I mean, these are pretty testing conditions, but stability is excellent. Of course, you've got those twin rear wheels. Steering is nice and positive. It does feel very secure on the road, and actually, surprisingly, it doesn't feel too big. But then it's 2.27 meters wide, which is a little bit narrower than some A classes, and it's under 8 meters long. The difference here is that this is over 3 meters tall, so it is a tall van, but the winds don't seem to be having a desperate effect on it, and you can see how exposed we are here going across the moors. What else can I tell you? Well, the bus type mirrors, they're superb, give you a really good view aft, especially when you're manoeuvring. Reversing camera, oddly that is not linked to this lovely 9-inch Pioneer screen in the centre. You get a much smaller screen for the reversing camera down to the right of the steering wheel here. I don't like that, and surely the reversing screen should be in that display. It's not an ideal position down there. You're sort of peering down to it, almost forgetting it's there sometimes. Other than that, the A-class issues, well, you have got sun visors and they're reachable, they're usable. So let's have a look at the windscreen wipers. Well, you can see the washers are on the wiper arms, which is always a plus, but it looks as if left-hand drive was in their thinking, because there's much less unswept over on the left-hand side, on the passenger side, than there is on the driver's side. It's not the worst I've seen, and these sort of clap hands pattern wipers do a better job than when you've normally got conventional wipers hinged the same way as each other. So you've got all the toys, powerful engine, good stability. Yeah, it's a nice vehicle to drive, every bit as nice as a Merc. In fact, I think when so many Mercedes, including all the Carthagos, are now front-wheel drive, there's a really strong argument now for this Iveco base vehicle. And I should just add that the automatic gearbox also has both eco, you probably won't use that, and power modes. Power, well, it seems to do quite well in standard. And then the parking brake is a switch, so no big ugly handbrake to reach down to or to get in the way of swivelling the seats. And the seats themselves are superb, although they're not heated. So the liner for two, what don't I like about it, apart from the fact that in a few hours I'm going to have to give it back? Well, not a lot. I hate's a strong word, but I hate those corner steadies that are fiddly, and I struggle to get one of them back up. Maybe they just need a bit of greasing, but surely something like that should be electric on a van of this ilk. Oddly, the shower light switch too is positioned outside the washroom. Don't know what they were thinking there. Anything else? Well, this table, I'd like it to fold in half or something, or somehow be a bit more compact when you don't want it to be a dining table. But other than that, this is one superb motorhome. I would love to go touring with my wife in this, but that's going to have to wait until the kids have grown up and left home. And it's going to have to wait a lot longer than that, because this motorhome with all these options is not cheap. It's not 170 odd grand as the starting price implies. This van, as tested, is £244,065. That's almost the price of an average UK house. Wow. Can it justify it? That is my only issue with this Carthago liner for two. I very much hope you've enjoyed watching our latest review, and of course there will be plenty more motorhome reviews coming along very soon. Don't forget to like and to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.